Joining us in the studio is now from the Intel Corporation, especially from the new technology group, and as well responsible as general manager for the drone group, Anil Nanduri. Welcome. Nice to have you here.
Thanks, Gunther. Nice to be here.
It was 1 year that Intel announced to get involved a little bit more in the drone business. So now 12 months, looking back, how are you?
Oh, we're doing wonderful, actually. We've been doing a lot of work in the drone ecosystem. In fact, we share a lot of passion with the people here at Germany. As you know, foundation to the drone technology for us at Intel came from some of the acquisitions we made from some of the pioneers in the drone industry, Ascending Technologies, Mavinci, and they're part of the Intel family now. So what we've been doing is taking the technology that they've brought to life and being able to scale that in very, very interesting and different ways. So the focus at Intel has been primarily around two main areas. One is to think of the commercial drone applications. And when we talk about commercial drone applications, mostly about inspections, infrastructure, refineries, bridges, construction, in the geospatial side about surveying, mapping, mining. So kind of where you have to manage large amounts of data to get resolution and information. That is one key vertical of drone applications that we are focusing on. The other area we've done a lot of work since the last year we've met here is around fleet management. I don't know how much you know, we can create fireworks in the sky using drones. And we've done shows up to 500 drones all over the world. All flying with a single touch of a button and creating beautiful animations and storytelling and creating that visual experience for broad people from the sky.
So it's a young and increasing technology, fascinating on the one hand. If you're looking on the market, how are you positioned at the moment?
So there's two aspects to it. How can drones help scale and what is the opportunity? If you look at things like an infrastructure, for example, you're inspecting an oil refinery. Most times when you have to use a refinery inspection, you're shutting down the plant. You're shutting down the plant for people to come on board and look at the equipment, look at the flare stacks. Drones can do it while they're flying. While they are operational. So there's significant amount of shutdown time you're saving, so immense amount of savings in terms of the potential. Similarly for construction, if you have to do surveying, drones can survey millions of data points within a 12-minute flight, for example. We've worked with Airbus on doing airplane inspection and the demonstration of that. What takes 4 to 8 hours of an airplane inspection, especially if you ground it after a lightning strike, you can use a drone to do that inspection in less than 15 minutes. So the potential and the value savings that drones can bring, they can do it faster, they can do it more safer, and they can do it more reliably. But how do you realize that potential? So there's billions of dollars of opportunity. Now to scale it, there's still a lot more work to be done. One, they need to be as simple to fly. The drones are getting smarter. So you don't need to be flying the drone. The drone should know where to fly, where to capture the information. So something like the Intel Falcon 8 Plus, we are working a lot on bringing automation. We call it one click. So if you say, I want to inspect this bridge, and you press a button, the drone exactly knows how to fly, where to fly, how many images to take, what kind of images I want, at what resolution, and bring it all and completely automatically. While the pilot there on the ground is there for safety reasons.
While our viewers can watch all the drones we have here, I think we should explain a little bit more of, you mentioned the Falcon 8 Plus.
Yes. So this is a multi-rotor drone, the Intel Falcon 8 Plus. It has an interesting design. It's a V-shaped design. Actually, it allows you to have the camera, for example, here we have an Alpha 7R. You can not only pivot all the way to the top, you can also pivot all the way to the ground. Yeah. So when you are inspecting, say, something like a bridge, you need to fly under it. So you can also take pictures from the bottom. So you can take from both sides. The second interesting thing is we have 8 rotors. So, it takes 4 rotors to fly a drone stable. Having 8 gives you redundancy. So in case one of the rotor fails, you still have full control of the flight. The other aspect of it is this, what you see here is battery. You can put 2 batteries. So there's again redundancy in batteries. So it's a very safe, redundant, adaptive platform. In fact, there's even redundancy in the autopilot. We have a triple redundant IMU on board. So, and there's multiple electrical buses. So there's no single point of electrical failure in the system. So for a safe operation, someone wants to make sure that the drone is in control at all times. A system like Intel Falcon 8 Plus is the most appropriate for that safety and redundant needs.
This is a little bit more heavier than this one, but this is very, very light. So.
Yeah, so these are the
Tell
drones.
about this.
So these are the drones that is the Intel Shooting Star, and we do that for the light shows.
Okay.
So you can generate about 4 billion light combinations, and we are able to fly 500 of them simultaneously with one touch of a computer button. So people are not flying it. It's the computers and the software that's flying these systems. And to scale this, you have to be able to charge them, program them. They're all done as a solution, because if you have to fly 500 of these drones, you cannot physically take out every battery and charge them. So you have to have a system that's designed for automation. And that's what we built everything in-house at Intel.
In this business, in this new business, you cannot judge on decades, watching decades coming ahead and saying what will happen within the next 10 years. It's what happens within the next 10 days.
Yes.
But look a little bit, let's look a little into the future.
Yes.
What do you expect for the next months, years?
So this Shooting Star, for example, we built this from concept, and we actually demonstrated in Florida at Disney Springs last year. The whole effort on creating from what we had on the drawings on a PowerPoint to actually deploying an operation in November last year was about 7 months. That is the speed of innovation that we have built together. And so what I see in the future is these systems are going to get more and more smarter. And they're also going to be more and more connected. So, when you have a drone, in the future, the drone will not only be able to fly and look at an inspection of a bridge, for example, it can even detect the problems on that bridge, whether there's a corrosion or there's a rust or whether there's a crack, and it'll be able to notify us. And so these systems will be flying and doing those inspections and then notifying us in real time if we have to take any action or any problems that it tells us there are changes that they've noticed. The other thing I see a great application for is in emergency response. Search and rescue, for example. All over the world, avalanches, landslides, natural disasters, you start to see that there is, human life, the first 48 hours, most critical time. And putting people on rescue missions sometimes is even difficult because you still haven't stabilized the area yet. And in those times, these systems could be fleets of them, hundreds of them could be helping us identify where we could put the emergency response, where can they help, where can they look for people's and valuable lives. And I see a future where these actually are deployed on such large scale. In fact, I know you're familiar with the hurricane that in the United States in Houston. We had actually worked with some of the agencies there to deploy, to do some bridge inspections using the same Intel Falcon 8 Plus drone here. So more and more of these, and when people realize the value that drones are bringing to us, their perception and adoption in the ecosystem will also increase. So when people realize the value things bring, that's how the public perception of acceptance of new technology. And so that's another angle where, how do you see drones more and more scale? When people are more comfortable with it. And we are at the beginning of that journey. I see this rapidly moving forward. People see light shows, and half the time I see little kids, oh, I didn't know there were drones. Mm-hmm. But these are controlled lights in the sky, inspiring them, giving them beautiful dreams. And when they know it is drones, oh wow, I didn't know we could use them for that. And so it's that part of the role we have to play in showing how drones can help us improve all the day-to-day things we can do today.
Last question. You're part of the Intel company. How much intelligence, how much know-how of Intel is in this business?
Quite a bit of it from a system level. And you have to think about it as what is the solution, right? First of all, we talked about drones automating and gathering the data. But to make the drones fly safer, we need sensors. As you know, we're doing a lot of work on autonomous driving, for example. Under the hood, it's actually a server on wheels. In the future, the drones is basically a flying computer with a lot of sensors that have to be processed. So we have navigational sensors on vision, like RealSense technology, that makes the drone smarter to avoid obstacles. And then all this data, each drone has about 50 gigabytes of data of information. Now they need to be automated to make analytics and data processing of understanding that information. So we announced a cloud platform called Intel Insights. This will then accelerate processing of information and be able to give us faster results and faster insights into what the data means. Because end of the day, the customer wants the results of the data. He is not looking for how the data was gathered. He's looking for the most least expensive, most efficient, and the most safe way to gather that data.
It was good to have you here, Anil. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Gunte, and really nice to meet you.
Thanks a lot.